So we work in this very weird little specialism called fictional user interface or fantasy user interface. It's definitely niche. So we built this out of really a desire at Territory, this fascination with the fusion of story, technology, and design, and it's this crossover of skill sets at our company that allows us to play in these areas with filmmakers, and we enjoy it, we celebrate it, and we celebrate the cross skill that we have in the studio. We're not this. Well, we are a little bit this. We are geeky, we are passionate, we do love what we do. We are not coders, we are not visual effects artists, but we are. We're a mixture of all these things. We're motion designers, we do love tech and code, and it's really just this grey area that we sit in terms of our skill set that allows us to work on these projects. But it does go back to world building. And ultimately, that's what we're there to imagine possible futures, and in imagining those possible futures, making a comment and a statement on where we are now.
The intent behind something is very critical in ultimately shaping where it goes. So as I was saying, I think the problem with smart cities becoming synonymous with surveillance states is it's built on this narrative of fear, which ultimately is exclusionary. What I instead think we should imagine the smart city as is an extension of urban planning and urban design. So what if this is basically digital urban planning, where it's a way of kind of merging our analog and digital selves in real time and real space? And frankly, like anybody, young millennial and Gen Z, like their digital and analog lives are already very, very merged. Can you imagine like a fascinating physical manifestation of what this would be? And if that is our value proposition for what a smart city should be, it is by definition inclusive, because it is about engaging all citizens. It is about providing services to people as they want it. What it is not about is saying, is inspiring fear. It's actually inspiring collaboration instead. Mm-hmm. So my dream would be is, if we actually put the notion of a smart city in the hands of urban planners and urban designers, they'd actually probably come up with some really fascinating ways to use the same technologies we're using to track and surveil bodies, and instead use it to actually improve people's lives and answer the questions that we actually think about every day, which is like, is my bus going to be on time? In San Francisco, no. The Muni will always be late.
But you don't need the algorithm.
It's just going to be late. Take an Uber or a Lyft or whatever.
Walk.
Are my children going to get to school on time? It's like the myriad of questions that we ask ourselves on a day-to-day basis, which actually aren't about surveillance or about safety and security, or so I think that would be a really interesting way to repurpose this notion of a smart city in a way that's more collaborative. I know there are some places that are already starting to think about this. So I was at the Barcelona Smart City Summit, and I'm really fascinated by the way Barcelona has pursued the notion of smart cities. They're using basically a crowdsourcing platform to get citizen input real time on how to shape these technologies. There's a lot more transparency involved. So we do have some early paradigms on what it could look like, and I think it's worth exploring.
We don't hurt the ones we love. And if we can find love for our customers, I think we can all be better product managers. But it does get tricky, right? Because sometimes our customers and our users and their users, right? It's not always clear who the they are, right? The people who have paid the bills are often very much, their needs are at odds with the people who will eventually be using the software, right? No user in the history of ever said, I would love to have a video pop up in the middle of this Colbert clip I'm watching on YouTube. That is not a delightful user experience. But for the people who are paying the bills, clearly it is. So thinking about the different parts and the sort of different legs of the triangle when it comes to users and customers, managers want compliance, users want flexibility. How do you find the balance? End users want to get support from a company. Companies would rather not pick up the phone because it's expensive. How do you build the kinds of features that can make both sides of those equations as happy as possible.